In this video, I will show you how to schedule, reschedule, and cancel appointments using AI voice agents. This method uses a Make.com automation on the background that you can connect using webhooks to any platform of your choice. So you can either use Retell, VAPI, or Blend, or any platform that allows you to build AI voice agents, and this should work as well. My name is Juan David, and I've been building AI voice agents for over a year now across multiple industries, and through a lot of trial and error, and also real-world testing, I found simple ways to make these agents a lot more smarter. And today I'm going to walk you through one of those, so feel free to follow along. And if you found this useful, consider dropping a like or subscribing to find more ways to enhance your AI voice agents. This is the whole make scenario that I'm walking you through in this video. This will allow you to schedule, reschedule, or cancel in any of the platforms that allow you to build your AI voice. In this case, I'm using VAPI for this specific build, but you can also use Retell or Blend or any platform that you want. Now I won't keep you waiting longer, and I will jump right into a demo using the chat feature here to test the assistant without having to talk to it. So this is an assistant for a dental clinic that books appointments, reschedules, and cancels for certain services. So in order to schedule an appointment, it needs my full name, the service that I want, and the date and time. And that is actually what it is doing. It is collecting that information in order to be able to run the tool call. Now it's gonna ask, as I said, for the service that I want for. We have 4 different types of services in this use case. I'm just gonna say that I want a teeth cleaning and continue. Now for the date and time, I'm just gonna say tomorrow 9 a.m. because actually this assistant has context on what day is today because of some system variables that VAPI has and that we include into the prompt. So once I confirm the date and time, it's gonna confirm me back all of the information. I'm just gonna say that that is correct. And now if we go to the Make.com automation, it should run the automation. So you see here, it took the appointment for the scheduling part, and it seems like it ran correctly. Let's see the tool calling here in VAPI. So it was able to schedule the appointment by running the schedule appointment function. And this is the response that it received from the webhook that I have here in Make. So let's see now my calendar, and I should have the teeth cleaning for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Now I'm just gonna try to move the appointment, reschedule it for 8 a.m. so 1 hour before, and I'm just gonna tell that to the assistant and see if it works. So I told the assistant that, and it is already running the automation, and it seems it ran correctly. So let's see my calendar, and here it is. So it moved the teeth cleaning from 9 a.m. tomorrow to 8 a.m. And if you go to Make and take a look at the last execution, it should be the reschedule route. So you see here the reschedule. First, it is going to look for the events. It's going to find the available slots, and then if I am available, it's just going to reschedule the appointment correctly and send the webhook response. The same message that I sent here in the result payload, I'm going to see here as the message from VAPI. So this is what the assistant is going to say to the user. And finally, for this same appointment, I'm just going to try to cancel it. So let's do that. And now it seems like it is trying to cancel it. It called the cancel appointment tool, and it received the right response. So it seemed like it did it successfully. Let's go to Make. Let's check the last execution. And it should be the one on the bottom. Yeah. So it searched for the specific event. And then as the event exists, it was able to delete it and send the webhook response back to VAPI. And if I go to my Google Calendar, I shouldn't find that event now. So you see here that it is clear now. Now I had to mention that this Make automation also works for the cases in which I don't have availability. If I don't have availability for any specific time slot, it is just gonna suggest another one that is close to that one. But I'm just gonna walk you through that in a second. So how does this actually work step by step? So first, you should go to your platform, AI platform of choice. In this case, I'm using VAPI, but you can use Retell or VAPI and just connect it via webhook to the Make automation. And once you are in the AI voice platform, you just go to create an assistant, then tweak all of the settings and create the prompt so you can actually handle the logic of booking an appointment, rescheduling, and canceling. So in this case, as you already know, I'm using a dental clinic case, and I'm trying to schedule appointments for these 4 services. So the user is able to pick one of the services and then schedule an appointment for one of these. This specific line right here is the system variable that VAPI has available for us in order for us to give context to the agent regarding which time it is right now. So that's why I was able to say tomorrow 9 a.m. because it already knows which time it is today. Here I included some objectives, sub-objectives, context, some business information, some clear guidelines on how to communicate, pronunciation rules, etc. And here on the flow of conversation section of my prompt is where I tell my agent how to handle the logic on when to call the schedule appointment function, when to call the reschedule appointment function, and when to call the cancel appointment function. So when you want to schedule an appointment, it should collect the full name, the service that it is looking to schedule, and the date and time. Once it has all the information, it has to use the tool schedule appointment that I'm going to show you just in a second to schedule the appointment and receive the confirmation. Now, to reschedule an appointment, we need the full name, the treatment that they want to book for, and the new date and time that they would prefer for the appointment. Once the agent is able to gather all of that information, it is going to use the reschedule appointment tool to reschedule the appointment. Here I also handle the cases in which the time is unavailable, and that is also handled inside the make automation that I'm going to show you. And finally, in the cancel appointment part, it just needs the full name, the service that it want to cancel for, and the appointment date. And then it is just going to use the cancel appointment tool and confirm to the user that the appointment has been canceled. In order to be able to mention these tools inside the prompt, we need to create them here in the tool section on the left side of your screen. So I created 3 different tools. The first one is the schedule appointment function. Here you should include a description for the AI to know what are you referring to or when to call this tool. And here on the parameters section is where you're gonna tell the AI what parameters it should get from the call in order to pass it to the automation. So if you remember, when we are trying to schedule, we need the name. So I descriptively tell the AI what I want for this specific field. I also want the time, which I set as required in this specific format, because that's how I handle that things inside my make automation, and the treatment type. Now, treatment is special because I gave the AI the enum values, which basically are the possible values that this field can take. So my treatment can only be braces consultation, general checkup, teeth cleaning, or whitening. It can't be anything outside of these 4 values. For each of these tools, you also need to set the server URL, which is the webhook in Make, and it is the same for each and every one of these tools. Now, on the assistance tools section, you have to include your tools here. Here I have the 3 available ones that I just created, and I just tick those boxes in order for the agent to be able to call these tools. Right now, jumping into the make automation, you will see here that this has 3 main branches. The first one is schedule, the second one is to handle the rescheduling part, and the third one is to cancel the appointment. First, this webhook receives the payload once one of the tools is called. If it is a schedule, it's going to take this route. If it is a reschedule, it's going to take this one. And if it is a cancel, it's going to take the one in the bottom. Now, for the first node in the schedule branch, I included a chat completion model. And in this case, my purpose is to get a start date and an end date, which are just dates in this format. And I'm giving it the start date that the user mentioned during the call. So it is a date time range of 72 hours. Now with these 2 dates, I'm just gonna call via API call to get the available slots in my calendar, because I have connected my calendar to a call.com event. So in call.com, I created an event. This is the API key from call.com, which I'm gonna erase after this video. The time zone, so I specified America Bogota because that's my time zone right now. The start date that I'm passing or mapping from the previous node, the end date, which is also from the previous node, and the event type ID for the event that I created in call. Essentially, what I'm going to get from this node is the available time slots for my calendar. Now the next node, which is called check if available, it's also a ChatGPT node, chat completion. In this case, I'm using GPT-4o, and I'm also using a very low temperature for each one of these nodes because I want a very specific output. In this case, this AI is going to check all my available time slots, which come from the API from call.com. You can see here a bit of the data. This includes a payload with all the time slots that I have availability for, and I want to see if I have availability for those time slots. And I'm passing it here the time the user wants to book the appointment for. In this case, the output is going to be true if I have availability, and false if I don't have any availability. And after that, I included a router, which then filters by this past response from ChatGPT. So if it is true, if I have availability, it is going to go ahead and create an event in my Google Calendar with the information from the event and send the payload back to VAPI. And if I don't have availability, it is going to find the next available time, also with a node in ChatGPT. And here in the prompt, I'm going to pass the data, again, the available time slots that I have, and also the time the user wanted to book an appointment for it to give me the closest available time slot to the user's preferred time in this specific format. And once I have that, I'm going to send that via a web response with the past result to the AI in order to suggest it to the user back. And if this is available and it works for the user, it's gonna run the automation again, and it's gonna be able to book the appointment for my calendar. Now for the reschedule branch, the first node is a Google Calendar search event node. So here essentially I'm checking the event that is already scheduled. So the parameters that this receives is the start date of the event, which I get from the payload, from the webhook, and also, this is important, the query. What it does is basically searches for events containing the specified text, and I am passing it the treatment type. That's why I had to specify very specific values for the treatment. So once I schedule an appointment, it saves the treatment type as the title, and that same title I'm gonna use to filter here to find the event in case I want to reschedule. So if the event exists, I'm gonna go ahead and find available slots and do the same thing that I did up here in the schedule branch, and I'm gonna try to update the event and send the webhook back. And if the event doesn't exist, I'm just gonna tell the VAPI assistant it seems the user doesn't have an appointment at this time, and it is gonna ask the user if this is the correct time of the appointment, because we weren't able to find an appointment for that specific event. So this is just a fallback in case the user said it had an event and it actually doesn't exist in my calendar. If the event exists, as I told you, I'm finding the date range, again, calling the API from call.com, and then checking if I'm available during those time slots. And if it is true, I'm gonna update the event. If it is false, I'm gonna find the next available time and send the webhook back. And finally, for the cancel branch, I'm gonna search for that specific event the same way I'm doing it in the other node in the reschedule branch, also querying by the treatment type. And if the event exists, I'm gonna delete that same event. So I'm gonna pass the event ID retrieved previously from this node. And this node, what it does is just basically deletes the event by the event ID and sends back the information to VAPI. And if the event doesn't exist, which is the filter that I included here, I'm gonna send also a webhook response to give context to the agent as to what happened during this automation and that the event doesn't exist. So you see here that for each and every one of our outcomes, we are including a webhook response just to give context and the information back to VAPI, and that is the way to do it. So you take the information here during the call and you output depending on what happens. And that's it. So that was the whole automation. Hope you understood everything. I consider this is a very well-rounded automation or solution for businesses that rely heavily on appointment booking and rescheduling appointments and canceling appointments, because we also included fallbacks for every possible outcome, and you saw that it works perfectly. And that's it. That's how you can finally automate your scheduling system, scheduling, rescheduling, and canceling, all with an AI voice agent. If you're ready to build these AI voice agents or just want to explore the possibility of building something custom like this for your business, feel free to use the link in the description below to book an appointment with me. I also offer a 45-minute one-on-one consultation just in case you want personalized help or just help setting everything up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.